So I'm going to do this by working basically off of what's left of my reel. This is, but you could work this off of any roll that you wanted to. What I'm going to make in here is one of these little guys right here. I hope you can see that. Here, we'll come in a little bit closer for you so you can see it. Yeah, let's get you in focus right there. Yeah, so it's one of these little jobby doos right here. And I'm going to show you how to make it with the pliers that I'm holding it with. So let's get started. Basically, the first thing that I do is come right at the edge of the wire for the smaller loop, like this. Whoops, let me get that in there for you. And then I turn myself a nice small loop all the way down, just like, this is the hard part if you're leaving it on the thing, just like that, okay? Then what I do is grab that loop right in the jaws of my pliers and down at the very, very bottom, so I can make the next loop as large as I can possibly get it to be. Then what I start doing is turning the pliers so that they are, whoops, it's scooted, so that this follows around below it, and then I turn them again and start pulling it down below, underneath, like this. That way the next one that comes around, and then I grab the loop in between, be really easy with that, and then scoot them again until I come back to where it's like this. Notice that the wires are sitting right under one another, and I turned it around like 2 times. Okay, so after I do that, I take these out, and if you'll notice, that's like a coil, right? Okay, so then what I do is kind of I usually make a mark on these pliers for how large this was, but I'm going to eyeball it this time. Okay, so there's probably, what, 2 millimeters in there like that. And on this one, I'm going to put the pliers so that they are pretty much even with the outside with the cut end of this loop at about the 2 millimeter mark, judging from right here. And then pull this over, whoops, all the way, well, all the way over like that. Take my pliers out, pull this up here, get that in there, and pull it around the rest of the way. Okay, so that it's nice and round like that. Hope you can see this here. Hang on a second. So that it's nice and round. In essence, I've created another round on this side. And what you want to do is kind of, and then the next thing that you want to do is take your chain nose. This is still attached, nothing's been cut off yet. But what I'm going to do is put the other, they should be about the same size. I do this a couple of different ways, but they should be about the same size. So what you want to do is cut this off so you don't have to work with, the roll anymore. And if you'll notice, one of these is up and one of them's down. My nails are a sight today. My granddaughters decided they were going to mess around with these. So if that little, what you're going to want to do is clean up this little round here and make sure that it's the same size. I'm going to cut it off a little bit so I can get it in there. And then come in and clean it up so that it's nice and, whoops. Come in and clean it up so that they're both, so that both of these are touching like that. One touches that way, and then we turn it over so that it's like this, right? And the other one gets kind of pushed in this way, so they're just nice round loops cleaned up. And then what you want to do is fold this one that's pointing upward, this one, and I hang on to things and kind of fold it downwards so that they are both just like that. They ought to be about right. This is a little bit harder when I'm using the camera, basically because this is one of the first things I've done, and the other thing is it's hard to see what you're doing while you're looking at what the camera is dealing with. So the next thing that I do is kind of hold on to these two things just like that. Here, I'm going to show you again. The two, they're just like this. They're supposed to be pretty much the same. You can make them a little more the same if you're doing this and you're not trying to record it at the same time. You put them like that, and then you stick them underneath the jaws of your pliers like this. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is take your fingernail or whatever, right? And probably should have done this while they were off my, yeah, there we go. And you separate those and pull them further away from one another like that. I'm holding on, I'm gripping onto this pretty firmly. So they're like this. Now take them off, and here's where you have to be careful. You need to do this one at a time, okay? So on the one side, what you're going to want to do is grab it like this, right? And push it, and very, very gently push these down so that they're one inside the other. Turn it around and do the same thing over here. Push it down so it's one inside the other. Now you take this and put it in your pliers. Hold on to this side and pull it as straight up as you can possibly pull it. And then once you get it almost all the way straight, poke it down with your pliers. And there it is. They're not absolutely even. If they aren't absolutely even, and that happens, especially when you're trying to see what you're doing and deal with what the camera's doing, you can tweak it just a tiny bit till it opens up, and then tweak it back down again. Now remember, you're going to be able to see that these things are even a little bit more when you make them on your own, but that's pretty much how it is. Let me put this down so you can see it. Right? Yeah, you can't see it. I hate that when that happens. So here we go. There we go. That's it. That's all you do. That's how I do it. Okay. I hope this helped you. Bye. This is Perri from Shakti Posh Designs, and like I said, I hope it helped. Bye.